Alright, Dolly Sods Wilderness Area. Starting off at the Red Creek Trailhead. And one interesting note about Dolly Sods is there is live ordnance, potentially live ordnance, scattered throughout the area. So they tell you, do not touch anything that looks like a mortar or grenade. Leave it alone. The reason being that back in World War II, they used this area for target practice for shelling and grenades. And a crew did go through the entire trail system and removed a bunch of stuff. But they still advise you not to go off trail too much and mostly stick to it for the most part. And again, if you see anything that looks suspicious, don't touch it, back away. If you can, mark it somehow if you have a GPS with you, or just remember where it was so you can tell somebody later. But pretty amazing to me that something that was built over 70 years ago could still be functioning potentially. But doing a 4-day trip, starting off on a Saturday, August 7th, I think, and leaving on a Tuesday. So this will be a first for me. I've never done a 4-day trip before. Everything I've ever done has been overnight, so it will be quite a challenge. So let's get started. And by the way, if my beard looks a little thicker than it does in the next shot, it's because I forgot to film this on day 1, so you're actually seeing me 3 days later. I'm actually out in Pittsburgh for work, but I decided to take a few extra days off. I've been really looking forward to this trip for a long time. I've been planning it for the better part of half a year now, and I've always wanted to come here ever since I saw a YouTube video about it. So see, YouTube actually works. It gets you out and going places, and it just seemed absolutely beautiful. So all the diversity of the ecosystems, and it's all within one relatively smaller area. That just seems like a lot of fun. So day 1, I'm not going to be doing a lot of miles, only about 5 or 6. I parked at the Red Creek Trailhead, and I'm hiking to what is known as the Forks. It's right next to the Red Creek, and it's supposed to be a popular campsite, and it's Saturday, and I've already seen quite a few people, so it's almost 4 o'clock already, and I'm hoping there'll still be a few spots left, but we'll see. If not, there are other options, so we'll find some place to go. So I've been eyeing the weather a lot the last couple weeks, mainly because it's been saying thunderstorms for like the past 2 weeks straight. I think the meteorologists are just getting kind of lazy, because literally every single day has just been raining and thunderstorms, like 60% chance. Although for the past 3 days, there has been a flood watch in the area. So I know they got rain, and quite a lot of it. And this place is already known for being pretty muddy. So I have been a little bit concerned about that, and just the overall level of the creeks and streams, but we'll see what that's like too. This first part of Red Creek, or kind of right after the beginning of it, has a bit of a climb. And some rocky sections, and a few places where you just wonder, is that the trail? That looks like a creek bed to me, and it probably is a creek bed. But yes, indeed, it is the trail. It's pretty. Well, the trail is basically turned into the stream. Ugh. Man, you know, this beginning parts of Red Creek really does have some pretty tough uphills. Or I'm just really out of shape. Or both. More likely that I'm just out of shape. But, I'll get there. Just keep climbing. Ugh. Now, I don't know how well the camera's going to pick this up, but I can see why they call this Red Creek. The water just has this really crimson color to it. Very interesting. You know, I don't think I introduced myself. My name's Dan. I'm from Chicago, the land of no mountains. And like I mentioned, I came to Pittsburgh for work, for a work trip, I should say. But decided to take a few extra days off before I have to do said work to explore Dolly Sods a bit. So on this trip, I'm trying out a few new things. This shirt, for one, it's a Columbia Ridge Runner. No. Does it say on here? I don't know. Light Max? I have no idea. I'll put some text in the video. But it's a UPF 40 shirt. It's long sleeve, but you can roll them up. I mostly got it for the sun protection because I burn to a crisp so easily. And like most people, I don't really enjoy putting on sunscreen. So, thought I'd try this thing out. And it's supposed to dry really quickly and help keep you cool. It does have some venting in the back. And so far, I really like it. It's really comfortable. The only thing that I would say is a downside is the sizes are really big. I mean, I don't know if you can see that, but it's pretty huge on me. Now I'm a skinny guy to begin with, but still, could be a little slimmer. So I'm trying out this shirt. I was really hoping to be trying out a new pack. I ordered a 30-liter frameless pack from Superior Wilderness Designs, but it has not arrived yet. I ordered it back in May, and they do say that shipping times are 8 to 12 weeks, and they could change without notice, so it hasn't exactly been 12 weeks yet. I was really hoping to try that out because it's a smaller pack than the one I'm carrying now, the ULA Circuit. I just found I didn't really need all that extra space. It's also much lighter. It's only about 12 ounces, which is amazing. And it doesn't really have a hip belt, which is what I wanted. I'm actually trying out not using a hip belt on this trip. See, no hip belt. So I took off the hip belt on my ULA pack, and also removed the aluminum stay and that carbon fiber loop. So it's kind of a frameless pack. The padding, the back padding, still gives it some form and shape, but it's more or less frameless and no hip belt. But the real kick in the butt was today, as I left for the trip, I got an email confirmation that my new pack had just shipped. Go figure. Well, I lost the trail back there for a little while. Got kind of lost. There's all these little spur trails, these campsites and stuff, and they look like they would be the actual trail. And I passed a gentleman's campsite and just kept right on going to what I thought was the trail, but eventually the trail didn't look like a trail anymore. So I turned around and asked the nice gentleman if he knows where the trail is, and he pointed me in the right direction, and I knew I had to cross the creek, and here I am. I finally found the cairns on the other side, so I took off my shoes because I don't feel like getting them wet today, and I'm going barefoot. So let's head on over. Oh, that kind of hurts. Oh, ow, ow, that's cold. Yep, maybe about calf deep, maybe. Does feel kind of good though. Whew. The rocks are slimy. But at least they're not jagged. That is cold water. See a particularly deep section coming up. I'm going to try to find a less deep section. By the way, it's a lot harder without the use of my trekking poles. So, I sure hope you appreciate this. But I think I am going to put it away, because I am going to fall over. Goodbye. That's pretty cool. How exactly did a gigantic rock just get there? Where does that stuff come from? Well, I'm debating whether or not I'm going to make it to the Forks tonight, and even if I did, it's a really popular spot, and it is a Saturday. I was just talking to another guy back there, and he said, yeah, it usually fills up pretty quickly, especially again on the weekend. But he did tell me about a site that's right before it that I might try if someone else didn't take it already. Or I might just stop a lot sooner and do something different. Kind of like right here. I don't know. Man, it is kind of tempting. We'll see. Well, I decided to stay. I did keep on going for a little bit, but then I just didn't want to keep going anymore. Tired from just the traveling, and I really didn't want to get at the Forks and realize all the campsites were taken up, and then it's 7:30 and I'm still trying to find a campsite. So this one was open. It looks good. It's got Red Creek behind me. I like it. So I'll probably just shave off a few miles from tomorrow's trip and figure that part out. But, well, got the beer bag hung. Gonna go get some water now, set up the tent, then make some food. Using the Knock Outdoors water bag. I really love this thing, mostly because the top opens up completely. I'll show you what I mean when I filter the water. So you can just scoop it right up, not have to deal with those stupid little Sawyer bags. Not the least yellow water I've ever seen. Well, it is better than that. You see the difference? Yeah. Look at my dinner. Having, what am I having? chicken flavored pasta. Yummy. So, hoping that I don't know how long this is going to take to cook. I just use these boil bags. I boil some water, pour it in here, and then just let it sit for a while. But the noodles are pretty flat. I don't know if you can see that. So, they're pretty flat. I'm hoping they're not going to take too long to cook. Well, in hindsight, I'm glad I ended up stopping because, as always, it takes me forever to set up camp. It's 7:30. I got here at 6. And I still haven't eaten yet. Now, the thing that takes forever is hanging my bear bag cable. I can never find a good branch, and then when I do find a decent one, I can never get the damn thing over the branch. I did find one, but again, it took forever. So that's why I always like to do that first, to get it out of the way, because I do not enjoy it. This will probably end up being like chicken noodle soup, but whatever. Hot. It's hot. Kind of looks like my crotch is on fire. Alright, we're going to let that soak up the water for a bit. So this shirt that I was talking about earlier, I like it. Yeah, it again dries super quickly. Again, still a little loose, very loose, but it's comfortable, and that's all that matters. I give it a solid C+. Well, I think I just learned one downside of cooking this stuff. It's really meant to be like cooked over a pot and stirred, but when you just dump boiling water into it and let it sit, it kind of becomes one big gelatinous mass. Just all fuses together. And I think I can break it up. I'm all settled in for the night. Day 1 in Dolly Sods Wilderness. See what we're going to do today. Day 2, I'll take a look at the map in the morning and figure out exactly what route I want to take. And how I might want to modify my plans a little bit. So, yeah. Seems like it's going to be a nice, calm, cool night. Hopefully I'll get a good night's sleep. See you in the morning. Morning. Day number 2 in Dolly Sods. Slept pretty well last night. Probably the best sleep I've ever had. Backpacking. Nice cool night, but I was totally warm. I have my 10 degree lighting equipment revelation with me, so definitely overkill on this trip, but it's the only sleeping bag I have, only quilt that I have, so but I wasn't too hot. I was concerned that I might be a little too hot, but I was perfectly comfortable. So I'm gonna get up, get my food, have some breakfast, then maybe sit around for a little longer and figure out what I'm going to do today and get going. A little granola for breakfast today. I wanted to put some powdered milk in here too, and I'll mix it in with some water and actually eat it with some milk-like substance. But the only powdered milk I can find is this gigantic bag of it for like $15, and I just don't need that much powdered milk. I need like 1 or 2 tablespoons. So I just got some coffee creamer, just some cheap coffee creamer. And I'm so glad that I did a test of this before I dumped it in here. When you pour cold water in it, it just lumps up and it's disgusting. So it does not work at all. So if you're looking to use coffee creamer in place of powdered milk, probably not going to work. So I checked the weather using my my new Garmin Inreach Mini. That's another new thing I'm using on this trip. That this came out fairly recently, and it's a mini version of the regular Garmin Inreach, and it's a lot lighter. Does all the same stuff as the regular Garmin Inreach. It obviously has a much smaller screen, but you compare this with the Earthmate app on your phone, which is what I do, and you can do most functions with that on the app. I got this mostly for safety. I've never done a 4-day trip before, so that's another first for me. And this it's definitely makes my puts my wife at ease back home, so I can message her and just give her check-in messages throughout the day, and it makes me feel more comfortable too, knowing that I have something that I can communicate with the outside world. But another nice feature is you can get weather forecasts. So the weather this morning shows that it's supposed to be a very slight chance of rain, only 10%, so maybe a few drizzles here and there. It's cloudy now, it's fairly humid, but it's cool. And tomorrow, pretty much the same thing, another just slight 10% chance of rain. So we'll take a look at the map and see what I want to do today. I think I figured out what I want to do for today. So, let's see if I can try to show you on the map here. Alright. So I parked down here at the Red Creek Trailhead, and I hiked on up right about here. So I'm just before the Rocky Point Trail here that goes up to Lion's Head. Now I intended last night to be up here at the Forks campsite, but again, I stopped right here. So instead of doing Lion's Head today, I think I'm going to save that for tomorrow, and instead I'm going to hike up Red Creek to 553, which is Breath Mountain Trail, then on up over here, be on I think it's Blackbird Knob Trail, just for a little bit. Then I really want to go up into the northern section, so I'm doing this 524, which is Rocky Ridge, this purple one, following that up to Raven Ridge, then taking Raven Ridge back down to the Dobbin Grade Trail. I'll be on that just for a moment, then taking that to 509, which is Upper Red Creek, then to Blackbird Knob again, then over back to Red Creek, and I think I'm going to try staying at the Forks tonight. It's Sunday, so it shouldn't be as busy, assuming people aren't taking a long weekend, so I'm going to try for that. It's about 13 and a half miles. Then tomorrow I will probably just make my way down to Breath Mountain. I'm not exactly sure which route I'll take, but we'll figure that part out tomorrow. So that's the plan. Gonna take off now, do the final check of the campsite, and yeah, should be a good day. It's nice and cool so far, a bit overcast. Might be like that for the most part of the day. Alright, happy hiking. So there are no blazes in Dolly Sods, but all the trail intersections are really well marked with these signs, which is great. And heading up Breath Mountain Trail 553 now. Breath, breathe, I have no idea. Well, I know why they call it Breath Mountain Trail. Man, this thing really leaves you out of breath. They do not believe in switchbacks at Dolly Sods. They see a mountain and they say, let's just go straight up the damn thing. Wow. So I've been doing some thinking about when I got lost yesterday. But I was thinking how even in a situation like that, where again, I knew I wasn't in any real danger, man, just not knowing where the trail is or knowing how exactly you got turned around is still such a really uncomfortable feeling. Man, you know, it just really goes to show that if you ever are really lost, I mean, lost, it pays so much to just stop, relax, take a break, and clear your head, because you will make stupid decisions if you're panicking and nervous. See what they mean about the changing scenery. I mean, just back there, it's all dense forest, and now that I reach the top of this little mountain, it's totally open. So different. See some pines off in the distance, so maybe I'll be entering a pine forest soon. Have I said wow yet? Look at this. It's like a big open meadow at the top of this mountain. How cool. And like I thought, now in a pine forest. Hear the birds chirping. Well, these deer aren't too shy. Just came right across me on the trail. Wow. Well, I was about to say that my concerns about mud have so far been unwarranted. Yeah, this section's pretty muddy. So, whoa. Hopefully I could stay on rocks most of the way. The northern section is supposed to be particularly muddy, which I'm not quite in yet, especially on the Dobbin grade trail, where beavers are known to make a lot of dams and then it floods the trail. I am mostly avoiding that trail on this trip. Finally, some nice flat terrain. Oh my God. Wow. No big rocks or boulders in the way or roots and mud. Oh, it's just a nice path. Of course, now that I said that's going to change. It's all going to be uphill and rocky and slippery and wet and muddy. I'm on the Rocky Ridge Trail now. I'm assuming that means there's a lot of rocks. But can't imagine how many more rocks there could possibly be compared to what I just did. But famous last words, I suppose. So, going without a hip belt, it's going okay so far. As I expected, my shoulders are definitely more sore. Although it's really mainly my left shoulder that's sore, and even with the hip belt, my left shoulder always gets sore. And before you say it, the answer is no. It is not because of this water bottle. I have tried shifting the water bottle on my right shoulder, but even then, my left one still hurts more. I think it's just the way my shoulder's shaped. Something where the strap is just pushing on it more and causes it to be uncomfortable. But it's not too unbearable yet. A few more hours and I want to just throw my pack away. I just can't stop taking videos. It's so pretty. Really nice views. I'm on top of Rocky Ridge right now. Oh, another great view. This particular portion of Rocky Ridge is indeed rocky. So that nice, flat, wonderful trail that I was talking about earlier did not last forever, but it's okay. These rocks won't last forever either. So this is pretty much what Rocky Top is like, at least the latter half of it. Really just starts to be a lot of boulder hiking. I don't really call it scrambling necessarily, but see what I mean? Rocky. Very rocky. Hey there, dear. Another cool sight. Looks like it'd be fun to explore. I'm beginning to have a real love-hate relationship with these rocks. While they make hiking a lot more difficult, they're a real lifesaver when it comes to these muddy sections. Whew. You know, some people think that hiking is really just glorified walking. One foot in front of the other, pretty straightforward, but you know what? It takes a tremendous amount of mental energy just constantly trying to think about where your next foot placement's going to be. And a lot of that kind of happens automatically and just second nature, but it's still a little bit taxing. So I ran into some wilderness rangers or something back there. Pretty sure it's more of a volunteer position. But they come out here and, you know, talk to people, check on the trail conditions, talk about leave no trace, things like that. But they come out here every Saturday, they said. Now, if that is a full-time position, then I am going to have a talking to with my high school guidance counselor. Because why in the world did she not tell me about that job? I'm on the Raven Ridge Trail, and the terrain we're in the second half of it. It's a nice welcome relief from all those rocks. Just a nice flat meadow and not too muddy. So my stomach is grumbling. It's I don't know what time it is. Hold on. It's 1:45, and I had a snack about 11:30. I still have yet to eat lunch. So the plan is to finish up the Raven Ridge Trail, another I don't know, 1.25 miles or so, and hopefully get to a water source somewhere toward the end of it, stock up on water, and have lunch. Whew, man. We just started the upper Red Creek Trail, and there is a little creek. So, comes to water, it's good enough for me. Going with the Spam single today, and some honey mustard from Chick-fil-A. Good enough. Well, I'm at camp, I'm all set up. I'm staying at the Forks like I had wanted to yesterday. Really nice area. I'll show you around in a bit. So I got my tent set up over there. I'm using the what is it? The Six Moon Designs. Right. Yeah, Six Moon Designs. Gatewood Cape. So it can be used as a tent and a poncho, and I have the Serenity net tent on the inside. So yeah, staying around. A bunch of other people are here too, to the right and left of me. Down that way, there's a dog that I'm pretty sure wants to eat my face. Despite my best attempts, it does not want me to pet it. So it's about almost 5. Just gonna sit here and relax for a while, not do anything. I am tired. My shoulders especially. Ooh, man, are they sore. Wow. I really am missing that hip belt. Good day's hike, about 13.5 miles. It's really my limit. It's my limit as far as distance and effort. That was a grueling 13.5 miles though. Man, it really made you work hard for them. Wow. But really pretty, a lot of fun. I can't even talk anymore right now. I'm just too tired. So, goodbye. Soaking my feet. It feels good. Have I mentioned how much I've loved this chair? Oh, and look at this thing. I get to sit in complete comfort on a creek, dipping my feet. I don't have to sit on a rock. It is great. Oh. This is the Helinox Chair Zero, by the way. It's 16 ounces, pretty damn light for a chair, and it is worth every single ounce. Oh, it is so great. It's so much better than just sitting on a rock, and my back really starts to hurt me after a while if I don't have some kind of back support. So having this chair just increases my happiness at camp 100-fold. I will never ever go backpacking without this chair. It is by far my favorite item. Another pleasant surprise so far. The bugs here have really been pretty much non-existent. You know, there are a few mosquitoes here and there, but like really nothing for me to complain about, which is great. Look at this little guy. Almost looks like a crawfish mated with an earwig. Hey, little guy. I was just thinking that, you know, being here by myself probably makes me look like the creepiest person here. Yeah. Oh well. I promise I'm not actually creepy. Or at least not that creepy. Mashed potatoes really are one of my favorite dinners in the backcountry. I should just bring this stuff for every dinner. And especially when I add little pieces of bacon. Oh yeah. That is good. Well, day 2, 13.5 miles. A very grueling 13.5 miles. So we'll see what I do tomorrow. But really hoping for a good night's sleep tonight. Well, good night. See you tomorrow. Good morning. Day 3. It's about 7:30. Getting kind of a lazy start to the morning this time. I know I'm not going to do a lot of miles today, so I think I'll lay in here for a little longer and go have some breakfast and take a look at the map and figure things out. Starting off day 3, heading up to Lion's Head right now. I'm back on the Red Creek Trail, going down to Rocky Point Trail, I think it is, and then I'll have to try to find Lion's Head. So the trail that goes up to Lion's Head isn't really a trail. Hopefully it's marked with a cairn or something else, and then it's kind of a scramble up some boulders. But it's supposed to be a beautiful lookout, one of the best in Dolly Sods, so I'm really looking forward to it. And of course, in typical fashion, I got lost immediately upon setting foot on the trail. I hadn't realized that to continue south from where my campsite was, I needed to cross the creek. And fortunately, the person who camped next to me was able to give me some good directions. So on my way. Day number 3. Hi, little froggy. I'm gonna call you Rocco. Do you remember how I talked yesterday about my love-hate relationship with rocks? Well, right now I hate them. Man, see why they call this Rocky Point. Although I don't know what the point is of all these rocks, other than to make my life hard. Have I mentioned how these deer are not very shy? I wonder if that is at all because there's no hunting here, or if that makes any difference. Other parts of Rocky Point Trail go through this really thick Rhododendron Tunnel. Very pretty. I think I might have found the path to Lion's Head. So this certainly looks like a path of some sort. And there's this big pile of rocks here, which kind of looks man-made, but then again, it could just be a big pile of rocks. This whole trail has been a big pile of rocks. So I'm going to give it a shot. I'll go up there a little bit, and if it doesn't look promising, I'll turn back around. Well, that was not the path to Lion's Head. Man, screw Lion's Head. This is pretty enough. Wow. This trail is just crazy. Man, this is definitely slow going. Wow. Whew. All right, this has to be the path to Lion's Head. Lines up with the map too, so I feel good about that. It looks like a path. So, just like the last time, let's head on up, see what I find, and hopefully I'll see a Lion's Head. On the way up to Lion's Head, pass through this pretty cool pine forest. I mean, let's look at how straight that looks. That first stretch of climbing up, it's pretty damn tough. I'm still out of breath. There is, for the most part, a path that you can see pretty clearly. Slightly confusing when you first make your way up there and you have to scramble a few boulders. But at the very beginning, it kind of curves around to the left, and then from there you can see it. Well, I'm close. There it is over there, that point. Even here has a nice view. Wow, wow, wow. Well, I'm at Lion's Head. It is an unbelievable view. Totally worth the climb. I'm going to stop for a quick snack break in what has to be definitely the most beautiful place in Dolly Sods. Wow. I said wow enough on this trip. Oh. Definitely not a good place if you're scared of heights, though. I'm more afraid of falling than I am of heights. Falling seems a lot worse to me. Back on the Rocky Point Trail, made it down from the Lion's Head path. And in typical fashion, I got lost coming back from Lion's Head. And I did find a path. It wasn't the right path. The place where I kind of got lost was right before where I needed to jut up to that little pine forest. So it wasn't the path, but it was a path. And it did get me back to the right spot anyway, so that's fine. Man, I would be horrible at bushwhacking. Can you imagine that? I'd take 2 steps and I'd be lost. And 2 steps more, I'd be lost again. Never doing that. Well, a little more ways to go on Rocky Point Trail. Then I meet up with, I don't remember. The pink one. Whatever that is. Someone spent a lot of time on that bench. I'm not really sure why. Every time I get to a new trail, I think, well, this trail is going to be easier than the last one. So, thank God I'm at this trail now. That never happens. It's amazing what kind of things we'll tell ourselves when you have hiker frustration. Going down this big stone coal trail kind of reminds me of parts of the Lakeshore Trail in the Smokies. Some sections the trail is really narrow and right up against the edge where there's a nice steep drop on the other side. But the big difference between that Lakeshore Trail and this one is the Lakeshore Trail allows horses, which I just can't understand how in the world a horse would navigate through those narrow pathways. And more importantly, I can't understand who in the world has the balls to ride a horse along that trail. About the only thing worse than falling off a trail over a cliff is falling off a trail over a cliff on a horse. Well, I'm at what I believe is Red Creek again. Could be a different one though. And yeah, I'm pretty sure this trail is straight that way. I came out here, and I think I can cross more or less right along there without having to take off my shoes. So we'll see. My feet will probably get a little wet, but that's alright. I just don't feel like taking my shoes off. Well, so much for not getting wet shoes. I I did indeed slip. Foot went right in the water. Fortunately, I fell backwards onto a rock on my butt. So I kind of wish I was able to get that on camera. Wasn't too fun as it happened, but I'm still here. Got my shoes wet again. It's crossing a little creek, and I was standing on a wet rock just debating what my next move was, and then I just gave way. Felt myself sliding, and it's amazing I didn't actually trip and fall over once I landed in the water. I really just slid off of it like a water slide. I think as it was happening, you know, it all happened so quickly, but as it was happening, I realized, well, my feet are going in the water. So I kind of just mentally prepared myself to bloop, drop right in the water. Guess what I forgot at campsite number 1? My tree strap that I used to hang on my pack. So I'm back at my campsite for the first night. I did want to retrieve this because number 1, I like it, and number 2, you know, leave no trace. I'm at camp. I'm drying out all my wet shoes and gaiters and socks. And I am taking a wonderful break with my favorite candy, peanut M&Ms. I'm pretty close, very close to campsite number 1. Still staying along Red Creek. Again, I was intending on going up to Fisher Spring Run and trying to find a campsite there, but I am done for the day. I do not want to hike anymore. And it also means that the hike out to the car tomorrow is slightly less short. Slightly less short. Slightly shorter. Thought I would show you what route I did today since I forgot to do that this morning. So hopefully this isn't reflecting too bad. Let's see, so where was I this morning? So I was about right here, which is the Forks on Red Creek Trail, and I decided to follow Red Creek Trail down to Rocky Point Trail. Then I took Rocky Point Trail, and just about here is where the entrance is for the path to Lion's Head. So I did that, which was about 0.4 miles one way. So did that out and back, and then continued on Rocky Point up to what is this? Big Stone Coal. Took Big Stone Coal south back to Red Creek, and then took Red Creek back up to here. And I did cross the creek and went to my campsite number 1 to retrieve my my tree line from my bag. Then went back, and so I'm camping right here. Originally I'd planned to hike a little ways up Fisher Spring Run and camp somewhere right here next to the spring, or next to the stream, but I decided not to again. Really didn't want to go any further, so I'm just camping right here. So in total, that's I think that's 6.9 miles. Yeah, pretty sure that's 6.9 miles. So, like I said, not the biggest mileage day by any means. No, it was half, or a little more than half, of what I did yesterday. My pace yesterday was like right at 2 miles an hour, which is what I usually always figure for how long it's going to take me to do a trail. And today it was down to about 1.5 miles an hour. The slower pace today, I totally understand because it was so much more rocky than yesterday. Much fewer sections that were just nice and straight and relatively obstacle free. So totally get that, and I'm totally fine with it. Having my dinner, going super easy tonight, just having a Cliff Bar. Maybe I'll snack on something else too. Like I said earlier, I am just not in the mood to actually cook something. I am all about easy at this point. Well, it's about 7:40. I ate my dinner. I decided to also have a spam single. So I ate my dinner. Now I'm going to go brush my teeth, hang my berry bag, probably come back out here and relax for a while longer, then head into the tent. So, good night. Good, successful day 3, and see you in the morning. Well, got an early morning rise, woke up at 6, it's about 7:10 now. Everything's all packed up, campsite's ready to be left. So, heading out back to the car, a relatively easy 3.1 mile hike. Enjoying the view and sound of the stream one last time before I leave. Alright, I'm ready. This is what I mean about those straight up hills. I don't know if you're going to be able to really see this, but yeah, it just goes straight up there. This is level, and then there's the top. Well, I just did that whole big climb for nothing because that was not the trail. I've totally lost count how many times I got lost on this trip. But I think I found the trail, so I'll keep going. Another nice view. This is toward the beginning of the Red Creek Trail. Very pretty. So I did a little cursing back there when I got lost yet again, and somewhat loudly, and then I realized I was talking right next to somebody's campsite. So they didn't seem to be up yet, but they probably are now. So they got to awaken to the beautiful sound of my F-bombs. I was thinking yesterday about day 2 during my longest and most challenging hike here, how when I was really tired, from big uphills or just navigating the challenging terrain or just overall exhausted, how there is absolutely nothing on my mind. And it's not like it's not nothing on my mind like I'm in a state of zen. not at all. I just literally am not thinking about anything. I find that so interesting. You think that I would be thinking about how much I want to take off my pack or just sit down or have a drink of water or have a snack, but no. There's just nothing going through my head. So maybe it just means there's not a whole lot going on up there. Since getting lost on this trip seems to be a theme for me, man, my GPS has been pretty indispensable on this. Not only as just a safety blanket, but it really has helped me in certain times to make sure I was actually still on the trail, and even help me find the trail in some cases. What has also been helpful are people, just people that I've been able to ask them, hey, do you know where the trail goes? And they've been able to answer. A couple times, if I didn't have some people right there to give me an answer, I'm not so sure I would have found the trail. So, really important to have that. Then again, pretty much every YouTube video I've watched with people backpacking Dolly Sods, I don't think I've ever heard them complain about getting lost or how difficult it can be sometimes to find the trail. So maybe it's just me. Maybe I have a horrible sense of direction and I don't pay attention, or who knows? Probably just me. Oh, I can see it. I can see the parking lot. I have never wanted to kiss a rental car so bad. Not that I kiss other cars. Well, so marks the end of my 4-day trip in Dolly Sods. Don't really have much else to say other than I am so happy to be back at the parking lot, driving to the hotel in Pittsburgh, where I now have to get myself ready to do a 3-hour presentation tomorrow. Ugh. Anyway, well worth it. Difficult hike. Fun times. Let's go back to the car.